Okay, I'll do an introduction for you, Beto. This Beto Duran is joining us right now. I'd say he's one of my favorite color commentary people, or I don't know if you're just a broadcaster. I'm not sure the exact terms, but you make watching boxing very fun, Beto, and I appreciate you coming on to talk with me.
I appreciate it, man. I do the play-by-play for Golden Boy and the late Thompson boxing, Marvin Nation, whatever it is, and I'm one of the hosts for Golden Boy. So it's a lot of fun. I appreciate you saying that because I know you watch a lot of fights all over the world, and yeah, I take a lot of pride in making it fun because if I'm doing the Thursday night show, which is our Golden Boy Fight Night episode, where you most of the time have never seen these kids before, you have no idea who they are. So Thursday's a little bit more relaxed than come Saturday night. So a lot of fun watching these kids go from where they start off to next thing you know, they're like the main event all over the world.
Well, you've mastered like the cool uncle telecast, I think. Like you've mastered like the hey, I'm the cool uncle, come and watch a boxing fight and let me chauffeur you through like these fighters I don't know. Like you've really developed
Yeah,
an art form to that.
it's fun. And then I give a lot of credit to our directors and producers where they told me from the get go, like, look, it's Thursday night. I have no idea who they are. If you're watching this, you're probably related or one of those hardcore fans that knows what's going on. And the other ones are just casual who just like, yeah, I want to know who this kid's about. So that's why I always, in the first round or two, I always give a lot of their background of where they're from, who they are. Like if they, I always like to shout out like the gyms that they train at because usually that gym is having some kind of watch party or something like that, and it's you want to make people feel like they're welcome and it's their show.
Well, I think you do a great job at it, and I'm like a connoisseur of that mid-level card. I feel like that's where I exist in boxing, so I watch a lot of cards like that. Tevin Farmer, William, well, I guess it's William Zepeda, Tevin Farmer. They're rematching. What are kind of your thoughts going into this? Obviously, like we don't do fight breakdowns per se, but like you doing so many Golden Boy shows, what are some observations and keynotes that you've seen building up to this fight?
Well, I'm glad it got done. This is a fight that when Tevin Farmer got announced for Cameron Riyadh season, you're like, okay, cool, former world champ, whatever. What's he got left? And then Tevin, to his credit, showed a lot. It was a fun fight to have, and credit for Golden Boy and Tevin and everybody working together. Like that was a fun fight for the fans. Let's run it back, and that's good. And it's good for Cameron to get that kind of experience because you've seen him. He just comes and throws punches and bunches and sets records every single time on Combi Box. But he needed a fight like Tevin Farmer where you got to figure out what's going on with the chess pieces and then the rematch. I think Cameron in a rematch, knowing what he went through with Tarmer, is going to have an advantage, especially fighting in Cancun. The Pepe Gomez show is always crazy down there, always a lot of fun. Golden Boy going down there at the end of the month, so that'll be good. But it's also one where you're looking at Cameron, who just recently had a baby, 135-pound division, where he's at. It's like this guy should be the next fight for him. If it goes according to plan, he should be fighting for one of the major titles. That's what he should be at. There's names out there. And this with Turkey and the way that he's been throwing money out there and putting the fights together, it should happen. But it is not an easy out. Tevin is easily got a resurgence in his career. He looked good in his last fight, and I'll never count out a Tevin Farmer.
Yeah, so many things, but I'll boil them down to two. I think the one thing most astute boxing fans were looking at is Tevin Farmer's a southpaw, Shakur Stevens is southpaw,
Yep.
WBC interim title, and Shakur Stevenson holding the WBC title outright. This was kind of like a comparison. How does Zepeda, in my mind, a fake matchmaker, looking at it as, okay, how does he handle a southpaw? So, do you think there's any path with that, or do you think it would be just belts in general?
No, absolutely you're on it because Cameron needed to have that former champion fighter in his face who's going to be now the crafty veteran who's going to give him a different kind of look, who's going to give him a different opportunity and be like, damn, I got to figure some things out because we all thought like Cameron taking on Tevin in Riyadh season was going to be like, okay, it'll be a good fight. Not many people expected it to be that difficult. So run it back again, get after it. And then, of course, the Shakur fight is the one that is the fight to be made for anybody in that division. Because, you take on Shakur, it's a different level, right? And then Shakur, like, you see what he does against champions. You see how his footwork is just fantastic. You see how he moves around. He might not be the most exciting fighter, but my goodness, you got to respect what he does because he makes it very, very difficult for everybody that gets in the ring with him.
So another thing that I've noticed from like watching boxing for like what 2 3 years or something, right, is that typically guys like Tevin Farmer don't have that great performance 2 times in a row. It's typically pretty difficult. It felt like if he was going to win the fight, not trying to be a negative Nancy.
Agree with you because we've been around the block enough to where you see the young fighter, in this case, a Camaron, who went up against a veteran like Farmer and didn't look good. And then they go and they make the adjustments. And Camaron's trainer, Panda, Jaina Hart, is going to do a great job of figuring out what to do with Tevin in this time. And as a fighter gets older, we've seen it too. They slow down in the next fight, right? I'm not saying Tevin is old. Tevin is still a live dog to me in this fight because if you make any kind of mistake, Tevin's going to pounce on it. But you're right there. When you're all fired up, right? Because in Riyadh season in Saudi, it was nobody talking about Tevin, and you know he took that personal. You know he came out there and made it. Does he have enough of that built up inside of him? Because now people are giving Tevin an opportunity in a live dog here.
Well, I think that Tevin, this is a weird, and it's going to be a Golden Boy crossover, which fits the theme of it. Tevin and Gilberto Zordo Ramirez are two of the most underrated fighters. They're both former champions. I think Zordo is like, to me, one of the best cruiserweights, if not the best cruiserweight. And people always are surprised when he has remarkable performances. Farmer can do a lot of different things in the ring, and that's like his biggest strength is he fights like Pernell Whitaker, but he's also excellent in the pocket at times. And I feel like in the lead up to it, it was just he was old and he had lost to Raymond Muratalla. There's no way that he can beat Zepeda because Zepeda is much more flashy and much more appealing. So because Muratalla made the adjustment, there's no way that he could do well in this.
Yeah, I like Raymond Muriataya that he works out with Robert Garcia. We've heard of him for the last couple of years, and it's like, when is that guy going to get his shot? When is he going to be able to fight for a belt? Because seeing the development that he has with Top Rank, where he's at, the way that he fights, and then just talking to different fighters that spar him at Robert Garcia's RGBA, and you're like, damn, why, like you can see why people are avoiding him too. But it's just you feel bad for him because like, dude, this guy should already have that opportunity to be fighting for a world title. So that division is interesting if Shakur stays there. You have different guys, different opportunities, and Tevin Farmer looking for the upset. I mean, I am not counting out Tevin Farmer at all, but I think Camaron should edge this one, especially being at home and knowing what's on the line. Because as Turkey has shown, you put on a great performance, you make me get at my seat, I'm going to reward that with your next fight.
It's pretty awesome.